The Boy Who Lost His Face by Louis Sachar, 25. Mo and Larry wanted David to call up Tori right then and there, but he convinced them that it would be better to call her up that night. Mo finally agreed that girls were more romantic at night. But if you chicken out, she warned, don't even bother coming to school tomorrow. David sat by his parents' bed and waited for 8:11 p.m. Then they had decided to call her then. They chose 8:11 because it would seem spontaneous. If he called her at exactly 8 o'clock or exactly 8:15, Tori would know he was planning the call for a long time. Tori would know he'd been planning the call for a long time. Sometimes you just have to do what your friends want you to do, David realized, no matter how terrible it is. He had finally learned that. It was the opposite of what everyone had always told him. Just say no. He had been told again and again, don't let peer pressure make you do something you don't want to do. Be yourself. Just say no. If your friends don't like you for it, then they're not really your friends. But he didn't have any other friends. He had said no to Roger and Randy. That was why they hated him. Besides, Larry and Mo weren't asking him to do anything really bad. It wasn't as if they were asking him to take drugs or steal a car. They wanted him to ask out Tori Williams so that they could go out too. There's a difference between just saying no and letting your friends down. It was more a matter of face. If he didn't call her up, he'd lose even more face. Besides, he wanted to go out with Tori. So what was the problem? He was afraid that Tori Williams would just say no. He got out the phone book from the nightstand next to his parents' bed and thumbed through the pages until he got to Williams. Hello? Hello, Tori, this is David. Oh, hi, David. I was just thinking about you. Really? What about me? Oh, I don't think I should tell you that. Maybe I was thinking the same thing about you. Maybe. Well, anyway, the reason I called was, would you like to go to a movie with me on Saturday night? Sure, that sounds like fun. Unfortunately, that conversation never happened, except in David's head. Hello, good evening, Miss Williams. This is Mr. Ballinger. Oh, well, make it quick, Mr. Ballinger. I'm expecting a call from Randy. Oh, okay. Well, I would be delighted if you would consent to have tea with me on Saturday. What? We don't have to have tea. I mean, some of my friends and I are going out to a movie, and I thought maybe you'd like to come along. Are you asking me out on a date? Yeah, sort of. Sure, why not? Are you crazy? The only reason I talk to you is because I feel sorry for you. Why would somebody like me want to go out with a stooge like you? Be real, Curly. That conversation never happened either. He never called her. There were more than 2 pages of people named Williams in the phone book. He couldn't call up each and every one to ask if someone named Tori lived there. Surely Mo would understand that. What if there was another Tori Williams? What if he asked the wrong Tori Williams on a date? He decided he would just have to ask for her phone number tomorrow at school. Actually, the more he thought about it, the better he liked the idea. He'd ask her for her phone number, and then she'd ask him why he wanted it. Then he'd say because he wanted to call her up and ask her out on a date. If she gave him her phone number, it would mean she wanted to go out with him. And if she didn't give him her phone number, then he wouldn't have to call her and be rejected. He put away the phone book and went into the den, feeling a lot better about things. His mother and Ricky were watching television. Ricky turned and scowled at David. What's the matter, Ricky? David asked sarcastically. Wrestling not on? Elizabeth was playing with blocks on the floor. She dropped a circular block through a circular-shaped hole. David, his mother, and his brother all clapped their hands and told her what a good girl she was. How come I don't see Scott anymore? David's mother asked. David shrugged. I don't know, he muttered. I guess we just have different interests. Yeah, Scott's not a stooge, said Ricky, so only David could hear. Ba-ba, said Elizabeth. Bottle? Asked David. Ba-ba, said Elizabeth. I'll get her some apple juice, said David's mother. That's okay, said David. I'll get it. He went into the kitchen and got the apple juice out of the refrigerator, and he poured it into Elizabeth's bottle. As he poured it into Elizabeth's bottle, he thought about Mrs. Bayfield. At least we're finally even, he decided, even if there never was really a curse. Everything that happened to her has now happened to him. Everything that happened to her had now happened to him. Except, did that make them even, really? What if she didn't put a curse on him? What if it was just one coincidence after another? Then nothing that happened to him really made up for the suffering he had caused her. He pictured her again, lying helplessly on the ground, her face covered with lemonade, her legs in the air. He stuck Elizabeth's bottle into the microwave for a few seconds to take the chill off. He started to screw on the nipple when the phone rang. Hello? he said, answering it. Hello? Nobody answered. He hung up, then brought Elizabeth's bottle back to the den. Here you go, he said, handing the bottle to her. Good fresh apple juice. Baba, said Elizabeth as she took it from him. She turned it over above her head. The nipple fell off, and apple juice poured all over her face. And that is the end of chapter 25.